So let me continue with the example that I skipped just a while ago. Somehow my graph doesn't come out right in my on-screen thing. So let me just draw it myself here. So I like to find the slope of the line that goes through the point 2, 2. So this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. So 2, 2, that would be this guy. And also 7, 4, 7, 4 would be this guy. So I would like to find the slope of this guy. Now then, you can use the slope formula that I hope you are already familiar with. That would be by y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So I'm just gonna plug in the value. My y1 is gonna be 2, my y2 is gonna be 4, my x1 is gonna be 2, my x2 is gonna be 7. So I'm gonna get negative 2 over negative 5. So that's gonna give me 2 over 5, and that's the slope of this guy. Now, since I already have the graph drawn, another way that you can use to find the slope of the underline is to draw the triangle underneath it. Here you can see that my rectangle, the height of my rectangle is 2, and the width of the base of my triangle is 5. So the slope of this guy is going to be 2 over 5, and that's the same number that we encountered earlier. If you, however, use the triangle method, make sure that you take into account when your line has negative slope as well, because that would mean your triangle would have negative height. So that's for this one. For the next example, I have my function f of x is x squared plus 3x minus 1. I like to determine f of 2, f of 1 over x, and f of c plus h. So, to actually determine the value of a function at a specific point, all you have to do is just replace x by whatever that is. So if I want to find f of 2, I'm just going to replace all the x that I see in my equation by 2. So that's how I evaluate the function f of x is x squared plus 3x plus 1. So typically your x is a variable, so it just means your x can be anything. So it can be 2. So it's going to be 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 1, and you can easily compute that to equal to 9. F of 1 over x, once again, that would be, I replace all the x by 1 over x. So it's going to be 1 over x squared plus 3 times 1 over x minus 1. So my f of 1 over x and my f of c plus h is going to be, once again, I replace all the stuff by c plus h. So it's going to be c plus h squared plus 3 times c plus h minus 1. So that's it for this example. Now you can kind of generalize the idea of plugging stuff in. This is called the function composition. So when you have numbers, you can add numbers, you can subtract numbers, you can multiply, you can divide numbers. Now the same thing goes for function. You can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide functions. However, functions also have another operation that number don't have. Is that you can compose two functions. You can find the composition of f and g, and f, the notation for that is the little o. I'm just gonna read this as f or g. It just means f of g of x. So let me just look at the example. My f of x is 1 over x squared plus 3 minus 1, and my g of x is my 1 over x. So my FOG is just going to be my f of g of x. It's just going to be f of g of x. My g of x 1 over x, so that's going to be my f of 1 over x. So I just do the same thing that we did in the other example. In fact, my f of x, this is the same function that we have in the other part. So my f of 1 over x, again, is going to be 1 over x squared plus 3 times 1 over x minus 1. So that's what I have. My g of f of x is going to be g of f of x. So notice how whatever comes first kind of go outside. My FOG is f of g of x. My g of f is going to be g of f of x. And they're going to turn out to be a totally different thing. Well, let's see. My g is 1 over x and my f is x squared plus 3x minus 1. And my g of x is 1 over x. So my g of this chunk is going to be 1 over the whole chunk. So that's going to be x squared plus 3x minus 1. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Let me just continue with the other example. My f of g of x is going to be my f of sine of x. So that's going to be the cube root of sine square of x minus sine of x. On the other hand, my g of f of x is going to be sine of f of x, which is the cube root of x squared minus x. And once again, you can see these two functions are basically totally different.